at the Frink Center, you'll find a lush deciduous forest on our trails. To help you recognize some of those deciduous trees that you'll see, we're going to take a walk in the woods and look at some common tree species you'll encounter. This tree is known for its very, very tough wood, and as a result, it's been named Ironwood. The Ironwood is a very common tree in the understories of our forests here in southern Ontario. And this particular one should be easy for visitors to find at the Frink Center, as it's right beside the sap boiling spot. The leaf of the Ironwood forms in a teardrop shape and has fine serrated teeth along the edges of the leaf. The surface of the leaf has a ruffled texture with veins going out from the central stem and ridges forming in between the veins. If you were to feel the leaf, it has a very, very slightly fuzzy feel to it. The bark of the Ironwood has long, peeling, rectangular scales. The color of the tree is usually a light gray color, and there are deep ridges between each column of scales. Now, most ironwood trees do not have a very wide diameter as they don't grow very big. Another shade-loving deciduous tree is the American beech. American beech is commonly found in moist but well-drained soils and can be often found growing with sugar maples. The bark of the American beech is very distinctive. It has a very, very smooth texture to it, and is often slate gray to slightly bluish gray in color. The leaf of the American beech is somewhat teardrop shaped, like the Ironwood, but it has a much smoother texture to it. The teeth along the edge are also less fine and more spaced apart, but they're still fairly small. In the fall, the American beech leaf turns from this deep green color to a bright, vibrant yellow before it falls off the tree. Although often, many of the leaves will stay on the tree and turn a rich brown color. In the winter, you can hear them rustling in the wind.
American beech are also an important food-producing tree for many animals in our forests. The beech produces nuts that are an important food source for many species of birds and mammals, including deer, squirrels, foxes, and porcupines. The nut itself has a slightly prickly appearance and splits open when it's ripe. The seeds are dark brown and form an almost triangular shape.
The tree beside me is a large-tooth aspen. Large-tooth aspen is a fast-growing tree that tends to prefer open, sunny conditions and usually soils that are a little bit drier. Here in the Frink Center, in this forest, there are only older ones left, and that's because as the forest matures, the conditions for young ones to come in tend to disappear.
As its name suggests, the large-tooth aspen has large, blunt teeth along the edge of its leaves. The leaves themselves are fairly round, with large white veins running throughout the leaf. When the leaves blow in the wind, they often make a rattling noise as they tend to bump into each other. The bark of the large-tooth aspen is usually a light to dark brown color and forms large ridges as the tree ages. These ridges extend towards the base of the trunk from the upper branches. On younger trees and newer growth on old trees, the bark starts out as smooth and white and begins to crack and form ridges as the tree ages.
This tree beside me is a sugar maple. Sugar maple is widely known amongst many people for two main reasons. First is that it's the tree from which maple syrup comes from, and secondly, because it is the tree whose leaf is depicted on the Canadian flag. Sugar maple leaves are fairly distinctive most of the time. They have three main lobes with some points coming off the sides, and at the top of the leaf they typically have these smaller lobes with long points on the edge. There's a very similar tree called the black maple that looks very similar to sugar maple, but the way to tell the difference is to feel the underside of the leaf. If it's smooth, then it's a sugar maple. If it's slightly fuzzy, then it's a black maple.
The seeds of the sugar maple have these wing-like attachments to them, which help them disperse in the wind when they're blown off the tree. When the seeds are fully ripe and dried out, and they drop to the ground, they twirl around in a fashion similar to the rotor blades of a helicopter.
Some trees can grow in very extreme conditions. Trees like the silver maples here can grow in areas that are flooded by the Moira River. This is because the roots are able to tolerate being underwater for quite a long period of time, unlike a lot of the other trees you can find in the forest. As a result, silver maples are often found along the edge of rivers, lakes, and in swamps. Silver maples can be distinguished by their 5 distinct lobes on each leaf. Now, unlike sugar maples, the lobes on the silver maples are quite a bit longer, and they've got more points along the edges. On the back of the leaf, you'll also notice this distinct pale color, which when it's shining in the sun and moving in the wind, appears to give it a shiny, silvery tinge to it. This is where the silver maple gets its name from.